My name is Anna. I am 24 years old. I live in a small town with simple dreams. I worked in a little shop every day. Life was quiet, calm, but sometimes very lonely. One afternoon, a man came into the shop. He smiled at me with warm, gentle eyes. His name was David. He asked me about the books I liked to read. We talked for a long time that day. I felt something different inside my heart. The next day, he came back again. He said he wanted to see me. David was kind, funny, and very charming. He made me laugh with simple stories. We started meeting after work. Walking in the park, talking about life and dreams. He said, "Anna, I like you. You are special, not like anyone I've ever met." I felt shy, but also very happy. Nobody had spoken to me like this before. Days turned into weeks. We grew closer and closer with each moment together. David held my hand in the park. He said he never wanted to let go. He called me every morning. He said, "Good morning, my love, my forever." At night, he sent me sweet messages. He always promised, "I will never leave you." I believed him. His voice, his eyes, and his words all felt so true. He talked about the future. He said, "We will marry and build a home together." He promised to show me the world. He said, "I will always be by your side." Every promise made my heart beat faster. I started to dream about forever with him. My friends said I looked happier. They noticed the light in my eyes when I spoke his name. My mother asked me about him. She said, "Do you think he is the one?" I said yes with a smile. I believed David was my destiny, my future. He made me feel safe. He said, "Nothing will ever take me away from you." We sat under the stars one night. He whispered, "Forever is ours, Anna, forever." I held his hand tightly. I believed in forever. I believed in love. He gave me a necklace with a small heart. He said, "This is a promise, my love." That night, I cried happy tears. I thought I finally found the man of my dreams. Weeks turned into months. David and I spent almost every day together, laughing and dreaming about our future. He brought me flowers from the market. Simple roses, but they made me feel like the happiest woman alive. We cooked dinner together in my small kitchen. He said he loved how I made soup with care. Sometimes he sang softly while I washed dishes. His voice was warm and gentle, like a safe home. He promised me a big wedding. He said, "Anna, one day I will put a ring on your finger." I believed every word. His eyes looked honest, and his touch was full of comfort. But slowly, I noticed small changes. Some evenings, he came late, without telling me where he was. When I asked him, he smiled. He said, "Don't worry, my love. I was just busy with work." I wanted to trust him. But inside my heart, a small seed of doubt began to grow. Sometimes he looked away when I asked questions. His answers felt short, not like before. One night, he forgot to call me. He said later, I fell asleep. I was so tired. I tried to believe him. But my heart whispered, why does love suddenly feel heavy? Another time, I saw a message on his phone. It was from someone I didn't know. When I asked, he quickly smiled. He said, it's just a friend from work, nothing important. His words were sweet. But his eyes didn't shine the same way anymore. He promised, forever, Anna, nothing will break us. But my heart began to question those promises. Some days, he was full of love, holding my hand tightly. Other days, he felt distant, lost in thought. I asked, David, is something wrong? He kissed my forehead and said, no, my love, you worry too much. His gentle words calmed me for a moment. But later, the silence between us grew louder. At night, I lie awake staring at the ceiling, wondering if forever was slipping away quietly. My friends noticed I was sad. They asked, Anna, is he treating you well? I smiled and said yes. But deep down, I wasn't sure anymore. My mother looked into my eyes one evening. She asked softly, do you trust him fully, Anna? I wanted to say yes. But instead, I stayed quiet, holding my necklace with trembling hands. David saw my tears one night. He hugged me and said, Anna, don't cry. I will never leave you. His words felt sweet. But his late nights and excuses painted a different story in my heart. I still loved him deeply. But love was no longer only joy, it was also fear. I held on to his promises, even though my heart already knew something was wrong. One morning, I waited for his call. The phone stayed silent. David did not call or send a message. I thought maybe he was busy. So I waited. Hours passed, but there was still nothing from him. I called his number many times. It rang and rang, but he never answered. My hands started to shake. That night, I sat by the window. I stared into the street, hoping to see him walking toward me. But he never came. The chair beside me stayed empty, and my heart felt colder with every hour. The next day, I went to his apartment. The door was locked. No one opened when I knocked. I asked the neighbor. She said, David left yesterday with a suitcase. I don't know where he went. My knees felt weak. It was like the ground under me had broken. Tears filled my eyes. Days passed. I went to his office. They told me he quit the job last week. I couldn't believe it. How could a man promise forever and then vanish without a single word? I searched every place I could. I asked his friends, but no one gave me answers. Some said maybe he had another life. Maybe he was already married. My heart broke even more. I remembered his smile, his sweet promises. All those words now felt like lies. Nights were the hardest. I cried into my pillow. I asked myself, why was I not enough? I stopped eating. I stopped smiling. Even sunlight felt heavy on my face. Weeks turned into months. And still, there was no sign of David. He was gone like a shadow. One day, I finally accepted the truth. He was not coming back. The man I loved had disappeared. I told myself, Anna, you must live again. Even if your heart feels broken and empty. I started going for walks. I read books. I tried to fill the silence with small joys. My mother hugged me one evening. She said, pain teaches us. But you are strong, Anna. Slowly, I believed her words. I was still hurt. But I was also learning to stand again. I wrote in my diary. He promised forever, then disappeared. But I will not disappear with him. I began smiling again, even if it was small. I learned love is not always forever. Love can be sweet. But love can also leave scars. And scars teach us to be stronger. Now, I live for myself. I don't wait for calls that will never come. I choose peace. My story is painful. But it is also a lesson. Sometimes losing someone means finding yourself. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more English learning stories.